Islam Makhachev is set to fight at UFC 294, but he still doesn't have an opponent. Mark and I are going to go over who we think he should fight next. But before we do that, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe as we have brand new videos every single week. So, Mark, let's start it simply. Who do you want Islam Makhachev to fight next?
Right. So without knowing who's going to win the BMF title between Dustin and Justin, it's easy for me to say Charles Oliveira after the dominant performance that he gave last week against Beneil Dariush. And I'll tell you for why. Granted, he did lose to Islam, right? But you look at Charles's record. He's got the resume that he's got, the finishes that he's got. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Beneil Dariush, and he's took Tony Ferguson to decision, etc., etc. But counter to that, Dwayne, the lightweight division is on fire so much that I don't think it really does leave that much room for error. As in, Charles lost to Islam, then he finishes Beneil, granted in dominant fashion. Does that then secure him another shot at Islam when there's other guys that are hungry? What do you think?
It's such a difficult one because obviously Charles Oliveira is the number one contender. He was a dominant champion, even though he technically had one defense. He still was a dominant champion, and he's had that long career. But the issue is he got battered, didn't he? Like, not even just a little bit. It was a pure domination, and it's not, for me, it's not necessarily a case of does he deserve a title shot, because the answer is yes, of course he does. He's that number one contender. He deserves that shot. But I'm not interested in seeing the fight again. I just don't see what's going to be different this time. What is Charles Oliveira going to do so different that he did before? Because I think what makes Charles so dangerous is what makes him so weak against Islam. Because, he allows his wild striking to take advantage of his opponents, and then he doesn't have to worry about going down as much. Whereas with Islam's got great striking defense, he's got really good counters, and he's amazing on the ground. I just don't see a path to victory for Oliveira. But I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to see Oliveira get the title again, but I just don't see it happening. Mark, is it a fight you'd actually want to watch again, Charles versus Islam 2?
To be honest, yeah, I do. I mean, I'm saying that it was a battering as well. It was so one-sided, the first fight. But I said that there isn't much room for error, but I want to see it again. I do. Plus, because of when Dustin and Justin are fighting, that ain't exactly going to be a tickling match, is it? I think they're going to be so beat up. I think they're going to need an extended time off. They might even get a suspension, that kind of thing. And I think Charles, he took minimal damage in this fight. There wasn't a mark on his face. I think he'll be ready, and maybe it can even... I think it'd just be a quick turnaround for him, because he wants to get back to that the championship status. He had maybe take it as he had a small blip, well, a rather big blip. It was more like the Hindenburg against Islam, but then and get back to that championship contender, because Islam now he's had one defense. Who's next for him? Is it going to already be another rematch?
Yeah, and that's exactly it, isn't it? It's not just a case of what we want as fans. It's a case of what does the UFC want and what does Islam Makhachev want? Because Islam can turn down this fight. He doesn't have to fight Oliveira again, and he doesn't overly seem interested. And that's the thing. I would rather see Islam fight someone different. And that's why I'm kind of steering towards that BMF fight, and whether the winner of that will fight Islam or not. Though Islam seems very, very, very down on the BMF belt. Did you hear what he said about Dustin and Justin? He said it's a title for bums. Do you think that's a little bit below the belt, or do you think you were kind of into that kind of trash talk?
I'm kind of, it's what you'd expect from Islam, because he isn't, he doesn't swear, he doesn't go after things personally, that kind of thing. That's about the most you're going to get from Islam for trash talk. Or where's Volkanovski? Where is this short guy? It's hardly going to keep Volkanovski up crying at night, is it, to be honest?
No.
But, he does his talking in the octagon. Whether we thought he deserved the title shot or not, he's been on a dominant run. So he is the champ. Like you say, he has got a little bit of wiggle room. I just wonder if, after the bloodbath that we're all anticipating of Dustin versus Justin, I wonder if they would be ready for October, because, it's a quick turnaround, and then you think, well, because, none of them tickle. Gaethje, like that meme, you know, he gives brain damage, he receives brain damage every single fight.
But yeah, that's a big problem, isn't it? Is that quick turnaround, because you're so right. There is going to be a lot of damage involved. These two are going to hurt each other. But I also just wonder, even if Dustin and Justin do get a title shot, do they really stand a chance? And I don't want to just start, wailing on both of them. I think they're both great fighters, but they both got dominated by Khabib. And I know that Islam isn't Khabib, but, it almost feels like Khabib cloned himself and now he's like, right, here you are, here's me again. So it just feels like I just don't see how they can beat Islam. I think Islam will just cause them both a lot of problems, and probably submit them both with rear naked chokes, exactly the same way Khabib did. So what are those fights you're interested in seeing? Are you interested in seeing Dustin or Justin fighting Islam? And how do you think of their chances are of winning the belt?
Honestly, out of the both of them, I'm the same as you. You know, I love both fighters. You know, always tune in for a Dustin Poirier or Justin Gaethje fight. I'd fancy Dustin's chances a lot more than Justin's. This is getting to be a tongue twister now, isn't it? I think Dustin Poirier has more chance of beating Islam than Justin Gaethje does. I think Gaethje's too wild. I think he could get taken down. Dustin, granted, he got finished by Khabib as well, but I mean, he holds his own. I sound so bad, as if like I go, I'd be able to beat Islam. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like
exactly. No, I understand exactly what you mean.
More of a complete, all well-rounded fighter.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel like Justin's a fantastic fighter. He's really exciting, and he really, really showed it in that physique fight. I think a lot of us were doubting him, and he proved that he's still a top-level fighter. But I feel like when it comes up to Islam, unfortunately, I don't think he stands much of a chance. Whereas Dustin, he might, I think he is a very well-rounded fighter, but he tends to fumble the bag in these high-pressure situations. And I don't know if Dustin necessarily has that champion mindset. We've talked about this before, and I worry that the pressure will just get to him too much fighting someone like Islam for the title. But I also think when Islam fought Volkanovski, I feel like Volk really took that edge off Islam. I think the big issue when fighting these Dagestani fighters is the whole game plan is, how am I going to defend? How am I going to defend? And it's less about offense and how I'm going to win. It's how am I going to survive? And I feel like Volk has kind of taken that away a little bit and made Islam look human. So I wonder now, when these fighters go in to fight Islam, is that pressure going to be a lot less? And maybe Dustin and Justin or Charles will come in with a lot less pressure on their shoulders. But talking about the man who made Islam look human, Alexander Volkanovski is ready to step up at almost any point for a rematch. And it all depends, when he fights Yair, how he comes out of that fight and if he's in good condition. Because, Volk does take a little bit of damage. He doesn't always come out unscathed. So is that a fight you'd want to see, Volk and Islam again so early, or is that a fight that you prefer maybe next year or something like that?
No, I'd be keen to see that. I'm a bit of a simp for Volkanovski, if I'm totally honest.
Me too.
We've said we hate the GOAT conversation, but I think Volkanovski is probably the best fighter on the UFC roster entirely right now. But in the sense of, don't forget, it was on Volk's turf. It was in Perth, the last one, and this one could be in more in Islam's turf.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So they could have that. This is all presuming that he gets through Yair with ease, and it can make the turnaround for October. Because if he does get through Yair, there isn't a lot left for him at featherweight. What's he going to do? Wait until Arnold Allen's on a winning streak again and then come up and get him, or Josh Emmett, something like that. Just people that he hasn't fought. I honestly think once he beats Yair, presumably beats Yair, sorry, I'm getting over ahead of myself. I think that's him, that Volkanovski. I've completed featherweight. That's it. I'm moving up to lightweight permanently. Yeah. Vacate the belt. He's done it. He doesn't have anything else to prove at featherweight. People are calling him the best featherweight ever because of his resume, with good reason as well. Is it a fight that you're interested in seeing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would love to see Islam versus Volk too, but I think it's just slightly too early. That's the problem with the Oliveira fight as well. I don't want to keep seeing rematches and rematches. I want new contenders coming up, and I want new fights happening. but it just feels like, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. And I think you're right. I think with Volk, the second that he finishes Yair, if he finishes Yair, that's it, isn't it? He needs to move up. I think he just dominated featherweight too much, and people do talk about him as the featherweight GOAT. And then, sort of talking about dominant featherweights, there is still Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler there. Plan to fight at the end of the year, maybe. Who knows now what's going on with that fight?
Yeah.
It seems all over the place. So we don't know whether that's even going to happen. But you can't deny that Conor is always a stone throw away from a title shot. Do you think... I know I've asked you before, is it a fight you're interested in seeing? I already know your answer's probably no, but we'd all sit and watch it. We'd all watch Conor and Islam fight. Do you think that's a fight that could happen next year if Conor beats Islam? Not if Conor beats Islam, if Conor beats Chandler.
Honestly, I'm not really sure because it feels like the Conor fan train has slowed down massively over the past few years. Because for a long time, people were just desperate to see 2015 and 2016 Conor back, and they were clutching on to anything. He lives and breathes. That's it. Granted, he still circulates around a lot, but a lot of people now, in the time that he's been off and the time that he wasn't fighting and that kind of thing, because I don't believe that he couldn't get a fight in the whole of the rest of 2020. I don't really believe it, to be honest. The biggest ticket, and he couldn't get a fight. They wouldn't let him. I don't know. I don't buy it. But I think it's slowed down so much that there'd be too much backlash of you don't get to take this much time off, beat Michael Chandler, who's been finished in, what is it, 2 or 3 of his last 4
3
or
of his
something
last
like
5,
that.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and then get a title shot. I think there'd be too much. I don't think that'd be well received in order to do it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. I feel like you're so right. I think so many Conor fans are clinging on to the old Conor and hoping that he's going to return. But I'm not even sure if he's going to fight again. The way it's all talking right now, and he's not in the USADA pool, and it's such a mess around. And of course, if he beats Chandler, he should not be getting a title shot. We all know I'm the biggest Conor fanboy there is, but he does not deserve that title shot. It's just not going to happen. I think if he comes out and beats Chandler and then maybe he fights Justin or Dustin again, well, I really don't want to see the Dustin fight again, but maybe a higher ranked opponent, then I could see him getting that title shot, and it's a fight that would be very interesting. But I feel like Islam's in a really, really good spot right now. I feel like there's so many contenders all ready to step up and all ready to fight him. I just wish we could just get a big Royal Rumble or something and just get them all in there in one go and just get them fighting each other.
That's exactly how it feels with the lightweight division. We were just saying then, these fights that we would tune in to watch, but they're already rematches. Already at this stage in your career, you've had one title defense, and we're already talking about potential rematches. We said that, Dustin and Justin don't think that they'd be able to get the job done. It wouldn't even be too overly competitive. We're like, who else is there? Honestly, every other person's just lost, sort of thing. So I'm like, well, when the Volkanovski fight was that clear-cut close, you're like, well, it's a bit of a coin flip, Different judges, maybe Volkanovski could have won, excuse me. So I'm probably gearing, if I had to pick someone to fight Islam again, I'm probably picking Volk if he can get through Yair, because then he's got all that steam, proved himself the featherweight king forever, and this is him coming up to take Islam's head.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice, but I'm going to pick Conor McGregor. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, I'd love to see that Volk fight again, and he really is up there. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know who I'd pick. I guess I'd want maybe Dustin. I think if I could pick out of all of them, Dustin versus Islam, get a new fight in there, give Dustin one last chance at that title shot. He is probably the best lightweight to have never touched the gold. So I think it'd be great to see him in that position. But I do think that's all we've got time for. Thank you for watching. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, it really does help us out.